In his book, Musicophilia, Oliver Sacks documents various pathological conditions in which his patients had strange reactions to listening to music. The way that music affected them was not the way that it affects the average human being. In that book, he recognizes that it's not always pathology in which this occurs, in which the way that music affects a human being changes. He talks about Freud, and he talks about Darwin in his book, both of whom mentioned clearly that they did not have enjoyment from music. Freud didn't allow himself to enjoy music. He didn't allow himself to be moved by the experience of beautiful music because he was concerned that it would open him up to flights of fancy and to fictions that would mar his work. Darwin complains later in life that he had become so analytical in his thinking that he no longer had the propensity, no longer the ability to be moved and lifted by the great beauty of music. There are times in our human experience that we can diminish to close frequencies in our experience of the world so that elements of high beauty, of high truth, do not affect us. We bring ourselves down into the mundane elements of life and do not have the ability to feel, to be moved by the higher truths and higher beauties. This is explained or mentioned in our Parasha this week. It says that the people of Israel could not hear Moshe when he spoke to them about freedom, about dignity, about identity, about hope. Moses was speaking to the people of high truths, the truths of what it means to be free, the truths of the hope in life. It says they could not hear him. They had no ability to hear what Moshe was saying because of truncated spirits and because of hard work. They had been brought down. Their souls had been chained. The frequency of those great ideas had been locked away from the people in their slavery. This happens to us as human beings. It can happen. And what the Parasha teaches us is one of the elements of freedom, of a free spirit, is a free soul. A soul that can experience, celebrate, and enjoy, be moved by the higher truths and beauties of life. To be overcome by the exquisite nature of music. To be ravished by the exquisite beauty of art, to be uplifted and inspired by the great truths of the world, to see hope, to see freedom, to see love as the highest ideals. Our people did emerge into embracing those things once again, once the freedom opened up and their souls were rehabilitated. But it teaches something about the nature of humanity. We can turn down the frequencies of those aesthetic elements of life, of the elements of life that are enjoyed by the unique spirit of the human being. It is in those experiences, it is through those interfaces that we have the greatest capacity to experience the divine, to, as it were, see the face of God. We are taught in this week's Parasha, freedom does not just mean being able to do what you wish. It means being open enough, being unencumbered enough to experience the full grandeur of life and the world that God created in all of its facets.